August the 21st, 2023. As you're looking at the update coming in at 10 a.m. Central Time, which was 15 minutes ago, tropical storm warnings are up for much of South Texas. In the blue and the yellow is tropical storm warnings that go a little further north. The reason I think we're seeing that much involved in this is because the white area, guys, is not the size of the storm. That's the predicted center path. And the storm is much larger than that. You saw it in the video this morning, and we'll look at the current ones now. But again, this thing is going to track up the Rio Grande, it looks like, and most of the spaghetti models are agreeing on that. We'll also look at that. But you got, it's 10 a.m. Monday, tropical depression. Again, by 7 a.m. it's very close to shore. But guys, when it's out here between this depression marker and tropical storm marker, you're already going to be seeing impacts there. It looks like some light rain has started. Again, if you're like us here in central Mississippi, you need every drop you can get. But remember, when you start getting into some of these drier areas, you're going to look like California and parts of Arizona did this morning in Nevada. Cars trapped in the flood waters, massive log jams and mud slides and mud flows, things like that, a lot of highway closures. But all you got to do is go to LA News, and you can see video after video of what went on there. So keep that in mind. Now, here's the predicted rainfall. In the yellow areas, you've got 6 to 4 inches. A couple of places here in Mexico that are going orange, which is 6 to 10 inches. But the dark green, 4 to 2 inches. The lighter green, 1 to 2 inches. But every little bit will help, especially the farmers and cattlemen there. I've seen some of you guys come in the comments and with large cattle herds, and the grass is drying up. Some folks are talking about having to go ahead and start feeding them their winter supply ahead of time. Now, guys, they're showing a peak storm surge. This is up to 3 feet in the blue, 1 to 3 feet all the way across this. It goes from the mouth of the Rio Grande up to Sargent, Texas. Check that out. Now, what will be key is that you check, regardless of what town you're in, they're all going to be different, but check your tide dates. Go in and check out the high and low tides, type that in for whatever city you're in, whether it's Matagorda or Corpus Christi or Baffin, because it's going to be different along that area. But if you get 3 foot on top of a high tide, it's going to make a big difference. You'll probably be in the 5 foot to 6 foot range. So if you got boats in small craft harbors, things like that, or you live in a low-lying area, you need to go ahead and take care of it now, because you're going to wake up in the morning with this thing all on top of you. So you don't have but just today, and it's time to go ahead and get started with all your preps. Now, these are the key messages for the Tropical Cyclone 9 as of 10 a.m., now 20 minutes ago. Heavy rainfall from potential Tropical Cyclone 9 is expected across South Texas on Tuesday and Wednesday. Guys, that rain could start, if you saw how close it's going to be in the morning as sun rises to the shore, you know that rain's going to be ahead of that. So start looking for that tonight. Now, just a few minutes ago at 10 a.m., the latest from the National Hurricane Center, it says the key messages for the potential Tropical Cyclone 9. Heavy rainfall from potential number 9 is expected across South Texas on Tuesday and Wednesday. Look for it starting tonight. The heavy rainfall may produce areas of flash and urban flooding across portions of Coahuila, Nuevo Leon, and Mexico. Flash flooding with possible landslides in the mountainous terrain is expected Tuesday into Wednesday. Coastal flooding is possible along the South Texas coast tonight through Tuesday morning. Tropical storm conditions are expected in the warning area and are possible in the watch area beginning Tuesday morning. Now, the spaghetti models have just came up. They were updated at 11 a.m. Eastern Time 24 minutes ago. Everything is going to move up the Rio Grande Valley, guys, and through El Paso up to all the way to Albuquerque, New Mexico. So if you needed a little moisture you didn't get from Hillary, you may get some from this. Now, the two main models that I watched, the Canadian model in purple and in the pale green, and the Navy model in purple here, both stop right there. They're not predicting anything past the approach to El Paso, but any low-lying areas along the Rio Grande, you need to pay very close attention to it, anyone in that area. But notice how the TABD model, which is this hot pink model right there, is looping around and coming back down all the way to the northern Louisiana border through Arkansas. Now that means it would be dealing with that high pressure that's over us right now, and we're just hoping for a break on that. But guys, this is what we're dealing with. So Texas, you're under the gun. Everything to the right of this is going to be the heaviest impacted because of the counter clockwise rotation of both the wind and the surf. Now these are the latest visual images over the Gulf of Mexico itself. You can see some outer bands starting to line up coming into central Texas here. So guys, I just hope and pray that you get that rain that you need. Everyone needs it, a lot of places around the planet. But here, the center right in here, you can see very clearly the rotation. Check that out. And so you guys, you got it coming. Just make sure that you're prepared for a tropical storm, because they can spin up tornadoes, water spouts, do damage, take down power lines. Do you have your batteries charged? Do you have your vehicles filled up with gasoline? Things like that. Your weather radios ready, backup lighting, candles, generators, solar power, whatever you're going to need, because there's going to be areas here that lose power. So make sure you are prepared for that. But it's clear behind it in the Caribbean, but if you look at the bottom right, you're seeing the edges of what's going to be a monster. Now moving east, this is what we're dealing with. Tropical Storm Franklin. You've got Girth out there. You've got Emily out there. Girth was the last one, so we'll see what the name comes up in the Gulf of Mexico will be. You can look at the named storms. Now we're going to go to the Caribbean satellite, but first let me put this up. It says tropical storm warnings for the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Entire south coast from Haiti border eastward to Isla Sayana, and Haiti entire south coast from the Anse de Hainault eastward to the Dominican Republic border. Tropical storm watch is out. That's 48 hours. The warning is expected within 36 hours. But for the storm watch, the Dominican Republic entire north and east coast from the Haiti border eastward and southward to Isla Sayana. And this is Franklin. That's what you were seeing, the very edges of as we were looking at Gulf of Mexico. Very intense, guys. This thing's been recycling since it got into the warmer waters here. And the modeling is showing that it's going to turn north very quickly. That's why you've got these storm warnings out in this area, and become a monster of a hurricane to scoot up along the east coast. And switching to the infrared, Franklin looks very dangerous. The white and black that are the very center of the storm, and that's where it's very powerful at right now. It's not going to take this long to go from a tropical storm to a Cat 1. So again, you guys, in the path we were talking about there, even the southern tips of Cuba, I don't think was mentioned, and the eastern Bahamas. But this thing is right in the heat section, and you can see it boiling and cooking. It's going to take its toll wherever it goes. Now, let's take a look at the Canadian model for the Caribbean and the Gulf, and that's the storm moving up through there. That's Franklin. But notice as we start this over, now taking a look at the Canadian model, you can see high pressure set up east to west across the Atlantic and then up through the southeast. And this opening in the yellow is where it starts to weaken. You get into green, you're getting into low pressure. And that's why the storm is going to track this way. So just watch, this is today again, for any tracking to change back to the north, just slightly. Now, this is Franklin, and that's one we're going to have to worry about along the east coast. Now, maybe it will not hit anything. Maybe it will be just close enough to pull some of that heat off the water, which will cool down everything around it. And by the way, if the system in the Gulf becomes a tropical storm, which I'm pretty sure it will be called Harold, Harold. Let's play this forward. Again, here's a storm going into Texas, and then this one right there. That's going to be a danger. Just depends on how close it comes to you guys up in Nag's Head and on the Outer Banks. and it moves up towards St. George and Newfoundland in that area. Let it play through again. It's cutting right through the opening between southern Cuba and Haiti. And when the center stays off land like that, that allows much quicker strengthening. The mountains can tear these things apart and weaken them down, but it almost looks like it's going to shoot that gap and keep a lot of the center, which is where the energy is, in the very warm Caribbean Sea. Notice what's coming across Florida in the last few frames. There goes your storm into Texas. You've got systems moving across the Yucatan Peninsula out of the Pacific Ocean, coming into the Caribbean and Gulf. And right in there, we're seeing a formation throughout this whole low pressure. Notice how everything's going to green. We just hope that's going to break some of this heat. And the way this thing is pushing up, we'll watch it one more time as it heads north along the Carolina coast. Notice how it pushes the high pressure away from just not only in the Atlantic, but along the southeast. Look at that. And so that's going to be a blessing during that time for some heat relief, because if you look at the straight models, say for central Mississippi, we're not really going to get a break from the heat unless some event like this happens until about September the 17th. So we still have some time we got to deal with, about 3 weeks of dealing with this high pressure area. And these are going to be our breaks. One thing about that, because it's pushing it back temporarily, just the way Katrina did, it can immediately the next day bring that heat wave back in with a tremendous amount of humidity and a lot of power outages in your areas. So guys, we're watching this. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.